30 seconds, I think I've been a speaker for almost 10 years. I speak about technology. I speak about the human transformation through technology. And that has evolved, been an ongoing evolution of mine, an interest of mine in how technology shapes, molds our relationships, personal and business, and that's what I talk about.
Wow, you had 7 seconds.
I don't need 30 seconds.
Next time you're going to do it in 20. Okay, so how did you get into speaking?
My life prior to speaking was very different. I worked in the NGO space. I was young and idealistic and trying to save the world. And then in my late 30s, I was realizing that I needed to get into a career. I needed to do something. And I wasn't sure what to do other than the fact that I didn't want a job. And then I came across the speaking industry, and I was amazed that there were people who were paid to speak. And I thought, well, I can do that. Not knowing that it would be as much work as it was to build a career in speaking. But I like the idea of presenting a message. Communication is incredibly powerful, and a message that is well crafted and superbly delivered can have a massive impact on people. And I was very interested in doing that. And at the time, social media, this is now going back to 2009, 2010, where social media was just becoming a thing for business, and nobody really knew its impact, what it would do, and what to do with it. And there were no experts because it was so new. So it was something that I could learn about, research, get my hands dirty with, and then go and present about it to businesses, how they should be thinking about it, what they should be thinking about, and how it was shaping the nature of relationships.
Was it just like a gap that you saw in the market, or was it a passion of yours?
You mean social media itself?
Social
No, I think the passion for me was communication. The communication is so incredibly powerful and so incredibly important and so incredibly misunderstood. I wanted to talk around that. The difficulty with communication is nobody thinks their communication is bad. They will agree that communication is important, but it's always somebody else's that's communication is bad. Well, don't talk to me. Tell them to sort out their communication. So it was a hard thing to sell. Social media I saw as a way to improve communication, because at its heart, social media is a communication medium, rather than a marketing one, an advertising. It's about communication. So yes, it was a gap, because at that time nobody was talking about it. Nobody really knew how to talk about it. So it was something I saw that it was a need that I could help fill.
Okay, cool. So moving on then from social media, how did your speaking career evolve from that?
Well, within about 2 years, so by 2012, 2013, there were plenty of people speaking about social media. I mean, you could throw a stick and hit 3 social media speakers. And I didn't want to be speaking about this is Facebook's new algorithm and how you should craft your page and how you should do your tweets. I wasn't interested in the mechanics of social media. I was more interested in how it was evolving behavior and relationships.
Right.
So then, beyond social media, it became more about technology and the fact that technological progress was becoming exponentially quicker, and because of that, business models, business relationships, everything about the nature of being a human being in the world was evolving and changing. So that's the direction I took with my speaking, is how are humans being transformed through technology. What I'm trying to do through my speaking is present the idea that rather than focusing on what you should be doing, maybe we should be changing how we think about what we're doing.
Right.
If we get the thinking right, then the doing becomes easy. Technology is easy.
Right.
Think of something you want to do, there's technology that'll help you do it. But if you haven't thought about it right, if you haven't thought about how this impacts my relationship with customers or my workforce, then the technology is pointless. If you understand where you're trying to go, there's technology that'll help you. So there are 3 things I do. I'm a professional speaker, professional presenter, I'm a professional marriage officer, and then most recently I'm now a professional game streamer.
Yes.
Which is, and I use the word professional fairly loosely. I've been given a limited sponsorship by Predator Gaming, and that's it started off as a fun thing, and I'm looking to see what opportunities are there.
So I would say that you do that with your clients as well. You know, when you get booked for an event and you make that extra, you take that extra mile to go to a briefing or to get there ahead of time and build that relationship with your clients.
Yeah, for me it is a very important thing, because it's very easy for speaking to become transactional.
Yes.
You know, please come speak for 40 minutes on this topic. Excellent. Here's my booking form. Send me the money, and I'll be there. Whereas if I understand what a conference is about, what the event is, even if I'm just doing a keynote, understanding the whole thing, I think makes it easier for me to have a greater impact on it, and hopefully build it into a relationship. Because I don't want to. Ideally, for me, I don't want our interaction to be a one-time transaction, because there are things we can do going forward and whatever, and if I can get to meet you as early as possible, do the brief, we can hopefully do amazing things.
Cool. So if I book you, what do I get from you? What experiences can you give me?
It really comes down to your need and understanding what you're about, but everything from I could do a 15-minute keynote if that's what was required in the slot. You know, just come in, get in there, say something amazing, and leave. Or listen, we've got a 3-day conference and we need a whole bunch of things. So I could keynote, I could MC and host the entire conference. We could have panel discussions, on-camera interviews, on-stage interviews, master classes. You know, I could do a 45-minute keynote followed by a 90-minute master class where we really get down and unpack the content from a keynote on whether it's digital transformation or this whole transformation effort, and unpack it, what it means in our business, get into a real interactive, down and dirty, detailed discussion and workshop on that. So it really is a whole range of things, and it stems from understanding what you're trying to get out of a conference or an event, and then going, these are the things I could do, this is what I suggest that would be most helpful, and then you can see how that fits in with what you want, and we can see where we go from there.
Okay, cool. And then just before we close, I've been seeing recently in the news there's been a whole lot of crazy things happening, from like AI to genetic engineering. What is something really interesting and fun that you've seen recently?
Well, look, it is. It's very easy to get distracted by the headlines,
right?
And AI is the big buzzword now. And everyone's sort of talking about the Terminator robots that are coming for our jobs and for our lives, and we shouldn't be distracted by that, but rather there are understanding that there are massive changes around us all the time, technology that we're using right now, and probably the most, I don't know if I'm going to use the word fun, but there are a number of big technologies that are going to have a deep impact, and one of them is, well, genetic editing is its own thing, and it's very interesting to talk about genetic editing, because if you ask most people, and I ask every time I speak now, because I touch very briefly on this, and I say, should we be getting involved in that? Should we be editing human lives genetically? And most people will say no. I say, should we do it? No. And then you ask the question, well, if you gave birth to a child, and I'll ask someone, I say, do you have a child? Yes, I do. And he or she's 9 years old. And I say, imagine your child has just been born and you're given the devastating news that your child has a degenerative disease and will live a very uncomfortable life and be dead by the time they're 9. I mean, that's a parent's worst nightmare. Right. But the doctor says, however, we can edit gene therapy, we can edit his genes so that disease is eliminated. How do you feel about gene editing now? And of course your opinions change, and that is human nature, is that in a general sense, as long as it's other people, we can have a very firm stand on something, but when it affects us personally, we will change our point of view. And that's the nature of change, is it is coming for us in a very personal way.